Hey everyone and welcome back. This is Warshack from RGC, and today we're going to take a look at my Shaman deck in Hearthstone. Before we head into a couple ranked games, let's look over the deck list so you guys can see what's in the deck, and if you'd like to copy it, you can. I share my information with you. We'll first start off with Warshack. This is a good one drop. It silences a minion and then deals 1 damage to it, so it can get rid of, let's say, a Leaper Gnome on turn 1 if they play it, or a Loot Hoarder, and neither of those cards will get their death rattles. Or you don't have to actually kill the creature with it. You can just use it as a normal silence because it is a 1-drop, so it's not that big of a deal. So let's say they play Ysera, you can stop her from getting a card at the end of each turn. You can interchange this card with Forked Lightning if you want. It's just Forked Lightning is a 1-drop still, does 2 damage to 2 different enemies, but it's Overload 2. And if you're going to play this on turn 1, you're shut down for 2 turns. So with that, it's kind of like Earthshock has that silence and it does that 1 damage. It's up to your choice, but I just like the silence. Moving down to Lightning Bolt, this is a 1 mana, deal 3 damage, overload 1. I believe this is pretty much a bread and butter in any Shaman deck. 3 damage for a 1-drop is absolutely retarded, and overload 1 isn't a lot to ask for. Moving down here to Stormforged Axe, this is a 2-drop, 2/3, so it's really nice. It sits on the field for a long time if they don't have an Acidic Swamp Ooze, so you can definitely take out at least 2 to 3 creatures with this 1 card, which gets you card advantage, which is extremely nice. Moving down to the Flame Tongue Totem, this is a really fun card to use to get you a lot of good card advantage. It's a 2-drop, so 0/3, doesn't have any attack, but it does give adjacent minions, which are the minions next to it, +2 attack. This is really nice when putting them in between your totems, because your totems don't cost you cards in hand, it just costs you 2 mana. You can sacrifice those totems to kill your opponent's cards on the field. So this is really nice, and it definitely even helps out your other minions. It's definitely helped me win games. It's a really nice card. Moving down to Feral Spirit, this is your taunt of the deck. It's a 3-drop, summon 2/2/3 Spirit Wolves. This definitely, if you play this on turn 3, it takes your opponent a little bit to get rid of these wolves because it's your 1 card and it summons 2 cards. It does give you that overload too, so it does set you back a little bit the next turn, but it makes your opponent really have to waste cards to get rid of these Spirit Wolves. Moving down here to Hex, definitely bread and butter in a Shaman deck. It's your polymorph pretty much, transform any minion you'd want into a 0/1 frog with taunt. So definitely run this card if you're in a Shaman deck. If you're not, you're doing it wrong. Moving to Lava Burst, it's a 3-drop. Moving to Lava Burst, it's a 3-drop, deal 5 damage, overload 2. It's a really nice card, good field clear, really good damage. It does give you overload 2, which is kind of a hassle, puts you back the next turn, but it deals 5 damage as a 3-drop. So that's really good. Moving to Lightning Storm, this is a really good field cleared card. It's a 3-drop, deal 2 to 3 damage to all enemy minions. Because you're running Azure Drake in this deck and also the totem to give you spell power, this most of the time does 3 to 4 damage or even 4 to 5 damage, which is really nice for a 3-drop. Moving to Mana Tide Totem, this is a really nice card to get card advantage. It's a 3-drop, no attack, 3 HP, but at the end of your turn you draw a card. This is definitely better than Nat Pagel because it's not a 50% chance to draw a card, it's a 100% chance to draw a card at the end of your turn. So with this, play it next to a creature that your opponent's going to have to make a decision. Well, do I want to get rid of his Ragnaros or Spirit Wolves, or am I going to have to get rid of his Mana Tide Totem because I don't want him to have card advantage? So play this card wisely, because if you play it at the wrong time, they're just going to get rid of it and it's not going to be worth the card it is. But if you play it at the right time, it will definitely give you a huge card advantage over your opponent. Moving to Unbound Elemental, it's a 3-drop for 2/4. Doesn't sound that good, but whenever you play a card with Overload, you get +1/+1. So with this, your opponent's either going to use a lot of their CC to get rid of this card, or they're going to ignore it or leave it be, and every turn you're probably going to be playing an Overload because this deck is filled with them, and it's just going to be getting 1/1 every turn, slowly getting stronger and stronger and stronger until eventually they're just going to have to waste more than 1 to 2 cards to get rid of it. Moving down here to Windspeaker, this is a 4-drop for 3/3, so it's not the best in stats, but its ability makes it really nice. It's give a friendly minion Wind Fury. This comboed with Bloodlust, or put on your Fire Elemental, or maybe even your Earth Elemental, makes them definitely something your opponent's going to have to deal with immediately. Moving down to Bloodlust, this is a 5-drop, give your minions +3 attack this turn. It sounds like a lot of mana for only +3 attack, but you'll notice when you do play this card later in the game that it will win you the game a lot of the time. Having it work on your totems as well as your creature makes those little totems that don't really do anything into beefy 3/2s that will most likely win you the game. Moving down here to Azure Drake, it's a 5 for 4/4. So again, not the best stats, but as soon as you play it, you draw a card. So it automatically goes 1 for 1 with itself. And then you also get +1 spell damage, and if you happen to notice, the deck is absolutely filled with spells. So it definitely helps you out a lot. Moving to the Earth Elemental, this is probably the beefiest, biggest monstrosity 5-drop in Hearthstone. It's a 7/8 for 5-drop with Taunt. That's absolutely ridiculous. No creature can even compare with this. The only problem with it is it's an overload 3. So when you play this card on turn 5, the next turn you're only going to have 3 mana to use. So you're limited on what you can do. So just make sure you play this card at the right time and it's not going to get CC'd. Moving to the last 5-drop, the Auctioneer. This card's a 5-drop for 4/4. So again, it's the same stats as the Azure Drake, but the ability is whenever you cast a spell, draw a card. Again, if you notice, this deck is absolutely filled with spell cards that deal damage. So every time you play one, you're going to draw a card. And on top of that, most of them are relatively cheap. So you're playing 2 to 3 spells in the late game if you've got good card advantage because of your Mana Tide Totem and because of this card. But the only problem with this card is they're going to kill it as soon as you play it. So that's why I'm running 2 Azure Drakes instead of 2 Auctioneers. But it's your choice. You can run 2 Auctioneers if you want it instead of 2 Azure Drake. Moving down to the Fire Elemental, it's a 6-drop for 6/5, so it's relatively good stats. And then its battle cry is deal 3 damage to whatever you'd like. So that can be your enemy hero directly or a creature on the field. So when this card comes out, it's most likely going to go 1 for 1 because you're going to kill something that your opponent already has out, which is really nice. And then they're either going to have to waste CC on it or you're going to kill something else with it. So it's going to go 2 for 1. Moving down to the legendaries in this deck, Ragnaros the Fire Lord. You'll see him in almost every one of my decks. He's probably one of the best legendaries like you've heard me say before. He's an 8/8 for 8, can attack, but at the end of your turn deal 8 damage to your random enemy. So this can be them directly, or their creatures, or pretty much whatever Ragnaros feels like doing, Ragnaros is going to do. Moving to the last card in the deck, Ysera. She's a 9-drop for 4/12, and at the end of your turn, draw a dream card. These dream cards, there's pretty much 1 of 4 that you're going to get every time it's the end of the turn and you get one. If she's on the field probably longer than 2 to 3 turns, the game is definitely going to go in your direction because of the card advantage you're going to get from her. She's a Mana Tide Totem, but probably even better because she's a 4/12. There's probably a couple cards that are interchangeable with Ragnaros and Ysera if you don't have these legendaries. You definitely can put Forked Lightning in, Ancestral Spirit, Rock Bitter Weapon, another Wind Speaker, another Bloodlust. There's tons of cards you can put in replace of those legendaries. If you don't have them, it'll still build a very strong Shaman deck. So with that, I'm tired of talking about this deck. Let's head into ranked and see how this Shaman build does. Heading into the first ranked game here with the Shaman deck. Quick note, if you see Forked Lightning, it's because I threw one of them in here. I've been seeing a lot of rush decks, and Forked Lightning works very well against them. So that's why if you see it, that's in there. You can tinker with those cards. You don't have to have the build exactly like I stated. There's a lot of good cards that are interchangeable. So with that said, taking a look at my beginning hand, I've got 2 of those axes, so I think I'm going to get rid of 1 and hope to get another low drop. The Earth Elemental is not a bad choice. It's a good 5-drop, but it's not going to be used for a little bit, and I tend to not want to throw that down right on turn 5 because of overload 3. So with nothing to play, I'm going to end my turn. Through the first turns, I'll see what deck this hunter's playing. Leaper Gnomon is his first card, so it's maybe a rush, maybe a normal warlock or hunter. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna throw down a totem and end my turn. I could have used my axe and I killed the Leaper Gnome, but then I would take 4 damage off the start for his 1 card, and then he could Acidic Swamp Ooze. So I'm not gonna do that. I also have Forked Lightning in my hand. What do you know? So I'm just going to throw down my elemental and end my turn. So with that, hopefully he's going to play another card, ignore this elemental, and attack me directly. So next turn then I can Feral Spirit and Forked Lightning, get double overload and attack with them. So he did. It's looking like it's a rush hunter deck. I took quite a bit of damage there on turn 4, but it's not a big deal because I'm going to be able to take care of his creatures. So I'm going to throw down my Feral Spirits, give this guy his 1/1, and then Forked Lightning, and be able to kill both of his creatures for 1 of my cards, and I'll swing for with my 4/6 and end my turn. So now I've got a pretty good defense. I've got a pretty beefy creature on the field, and I've got 4 cards in hand, which isn't a ton, but it's a good field advantage here, and it's gonna scare him. So it all depends what he has to play here. A Hyena, and he might just ping for 2. So his Hyena will die to my axe next turn, and on top of that, Never mind, I only have 2 mana next turn because of my overloads. That's alright. So yeah, next turn I won't be able to play my Mana Tide Totem, which would be really nice because it would have quite a few defenses here. And he'd probably want to kill that Elemental before even the Mana Tide Totem. But it's looking like I'm just going to Axe next turn and kill his Hyena and then probably swing again for 4 and then my Wolves. So yeah, I've got 2 mana, drew another Mana Tide, so it's going to throw it on my weapon like I said. I kill his Hyena. My guy's going to get even a higher buff. This game's doing pretty well for me. Shaman decks, well, the way this Shaman deck is built, it's not really an early game deck. Like, this is a mid to late game deck with heavy pickup through mid to late game. Like, this deck just keeps throwing out those big creatures, and eventually they just run out of resources. And it has a lot of field clear and a lot of get rid of whatever I feel like. So from here, he's going to play another 4/2, giving me another Mana Crystal, which I'm not complaining about because he's not going to be able to do anything crazy. Kill command to deal 3 damage on my wolf. He's going to suicidal with the other wolf and end his turn. So this is looking really nice for me. I'm going to summon this guy, see if there's anything better. I could play my Earth Elemental, but now I want to give this guy Wind Fury. So I'm going to give him Wind Fury, play my Mana Tide Totem. I'm going to swing for 2. I'm going to swing directly with my Axe because it has 2 charges and he's almost dead anyway, and end my turn and get to draw a card with Mana Tide Totem. So we almost have equal hand, and I've definitely got a huge field advantage. And my Elemental's been on the field since turn 1, and like I said, if they ignore it, it's just going to get beefier and beefier every turn because this deck is filled with spells that have overload. Every turn I've been able to play it. Oh, Timberwolf, that means there's an Unleash of the Hounds. Yep, there it is. Whenever you see a Timberwolf being played, you better there's going to be an Unleash of the Hounds coming. So he's probably even going to ignore me. Yep, he's just ignoring all my creatures, going straight for my life, which 100. He's got me down to 10 health, which is pretty good. But it's looking like this is going to be game over right here. Probably has an explosive trap. Yep. It's not going to be able to kill anything on my field. And just because I'm a jerk, I'm going to throw down a Fire Elemental and hit him with 3 with the passive of the Fire Elemental. So he got me down to 8 health with his Rush Hunter deck. Even though I had complete field control, the Rush portion of his deck did, as I said, good damage. That's why everybody's playing Rush decks. They're just annoying, to be honest. So heading into game number 2, I've cut down again the queue timer on how this spinny thing spins, so we don't have to sit here and watch it forever. So we're playing against a worthy opponent. That's ever changing. It's a rogue this game. Haven't played a rogue in a little bit. When I do, they just keep playing crazy cards all the time and sending stuff back and resummoning it. So this should be pretty interesting. So I've got 2 Flame Tongue Totems, Lightning, and a Lava Burst. I'm going to get rid of the Totem, and I'm probably going to get a Lava Burst as well, just because he's not summoning any big creatures really soon. And that wasn't a bad deal. This is a pretty solid hand. The Mana Tide Totem probably could go, but that's alright. You don't really play that on turn 3 unless they literally have nothing on the field. But definitely the Feral Wolves, the Flame Tongue Totem, and the Lightning Storm is definitely good cards. I like how it's golden too. That's probably one of the coolest golden cards. Just looks so cool. Alright, anyway. And I love going second. I love going second. It makes me feel like I can win every game when I go second. It's because I just look at the card advantage. He has 4 cards in his hand, and I've got 6. How is that fair? How is that fair at all? Like, this game. So he didn't have anything the first turn. I didn't have anything in the first turn. He's gonna play his weapon, attack me for 1 damage. Pretty more. So I've got my weapon. I'm not gonna weapon though. I'm just gonna do my totem, and it's probably gonna do Searing Totem. And my turn. The reason I'm not weaponing off the back and just attacking is because if he has an Acidic Swamp Ooze, he's just gonna play that right there, and it's automatically gonna go 1 for 1. But if he plays another card and I'm able to play my weapon and then kill that card with my weapon's gone 1 for 1, and then him killing it with the Acidic Swamp Ooze isn't as bad, because my card went 1 for 1. But it's when I don't get that 1 for 1 out of my card is when you start losing that card advantage. So from here, I'm just gonna Feral Spirits because it's a good 3 drop. It makes him have to play cards to get rid of them, which we'll probably see here. If he doesn't get rid of them, that just leaves me for next turn to be able to totem, and then after that turn comes the Flame Tongue Totem. So knowing what to do the turn after is perfect. So he didn't have anything to play, which is really weird. So I'm just gonna Flame Tongue Totem in between these two. Normally I would normal totem, but since he has nothing, I'm just gonna swing for 4 each, which is a really nice start. So now he has to kill these cards because they're 4 attack each, and if not, he's just gonna get hit with another 8 next turn. So he had to do something, and that's what he chose to do. And probably not the best move, but that's probably the only thing he had. So with here, my hand is really nice. I can Lightning Bolt this to get rid of it. I'm going to play my Mana Tide Totem, which is going to leave me with 1 mana left. I could coin and play another totem, but it wouldn't change anything this turn, and I'd rather save coin for when I really need it. So I'm going to end my turn. I'm going to draw an extra card with that Mana Tide Totem, and it's still on the field is sitting these 2 4s. So he's got to definitely do something quick, and that would be something. Heal, and then another heal. So he's, and this would be the summoning a whole bunch of cards all the time. So what does he got? Nothing really game-changing he's played. He can just let me sit on my cards. So right here, I have 5 mana, so Lightning Storm costs 3. I'm gonna play a totem to see if it gives me the spell power 1, which it did, which is really nice. Now it's definitely gonna kill both those cards that he's played on the field. And then with here, I'm just going to swing for another 8 and end my turn, and then draw an extra card at the end of my turn with Mana Tide Totem. So we can see here my field is nicely filled with creatures. My hand is completely filled with stuff. Like the Mana Tide Totem, the 100% chance to draw a card is just absolutely retarded. So he's able to kill my spell power totem. He comboed it with his agent. He's going to summon back his agent and then probably kill my other wolf. Yeah. And when he kills my other wolf, there's no more taunts, so now he can kill the Flame Tongue Totem. I'm going to give him a well played because he definitely cleared out my field, but with that, he cleared out his hand. He has 3 cards in hand and a card on the field, and I definitely, look at this hand. My hand is completely filled. So with this, I wish I had 6 mana. I actually do have 6 mana because I'm going to coin Fire Elemental and then do that 3 damage to get rid of that. So that's why I say my coin, it worked out pretty well there. I didn't want to waste 2 cards on his 1, and I didn't want to attack it directly. So my Fire Elemental just went for its 1-for-1 with the 3 damage, which is why his ability is there. So he's going to have to get rid of my Flame Tongue Totem. There he goes. Making my guys less buff. He's going to Azure Drake. Play a spell. Nothing, still nothing game changing. And with this is pretty much game over because I'm just going to weapon, Bloodlust, and with this is just going to give my creatures enough oomph to end the game here. I didn't even have to weapon. I could have just Bloodlust and attack, but I like to just play my weapon anyway. It makes me feel better. So, getting kind of high up, or should I say low up in the ranks here. Making these deck guides and tinkering with stuff definitely makes it so I'm not just hammering ranked and getting really low. Making these deck guides definitely takes some time, and then playing so many decks so often definitely affects my rank. So after these deck guides start coming out, my rank, I'll be making videos of much lower ranks, probably 1 through 5 when I get there. So checking out this next game, looks like we're playing another Shaman, which should be a pretty interesting game to see how my deck compares with whatever he's running. Pretty good hand right off the bat. Good field clear, good 3 drops, and then my 5 drop. Ysera, second turn, not that great, but what can you do? Also, guys, if you didn't already know, I have tons of other Hearthstone guide videos. I've got a mage, I've got a warlock, I've got a hunter, I've got a warrior. So if you guys feel free to check out those videos, leave feedback, let me know what you think about them. Feedback is everything. I don't know what to do or what you guys think of anything, or if I did something bad or I left something out. You guys just let me know. Like, I don't... Direct feedback is... I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to rage and be like, oh my god, you said this. No, I'm going to be like, thank you for the comment and I appreciate it. So just throwing that out there. And should probably get back to this game here because I'm doing stuff and not explaining it. So... Knife Juggler, didn't really expect that one, but it's what we're going to have to deal with. Third turn, so I lay down my Elemental. If he plays a card His Knife Juggler has a possibility of getting my Elemental down to 3 health, and then he'd kill it with his Knife Juggler. Oh, 2 Knife Jugglers. Well, that's not good. I'm glad that thing didn't ping my Elemental, because maybe it'll live now. Oh, maybe not. He's definitely gonna, yeah. Knife Juggler for my creatures, so... At least my card went 1 for 1 with his Juggler. And then he's got that Healing Totem down. So from here, I don't want to waste my Lightning Storm. That'd be kind of stupid. I can coin and use my Earth Elemental, but he may have a Hex, and that will totally set me back at least 2 turns because of that Overload 3. So it's iffy what I have to do now, because he definitely has field control with that Axe also. So yeah, I think I'm going to coin an Earth Elemental and hope to God he doesn't have a Hex. Yeah, so this is either going to put him in a bad state where he's going to have to kill off his Knife Juggler, he's going to probably have to take 7 damage, and even play a spell to get rid of this 7-8. The Earth Elemental is definitely a beefy-ass creature to play off turn 5. Like, it's a very big creature, like, huge. It is absolutely enormous. It's a giant... It's bigger than a Boulder Fist, and that's turn 6. That wasn't a good example. It's like a Ragnaros. It's not like a Ragnaros. It's like an Earth Elemental. So he's gonna Lightning Storm. He wastes his field clear on 1 card to do 3 damage. Then he's gonna take 7 damage to the face with his weapon, and then again kill his Knife Juggler. So he used 2 cards for my 1 and took 7 to the face. So as you can see, that the Earth Elemental does its work. So I'm gonna throw down a totem and end my turn since I only had 2 mana because I had been overloaded 3 from the turn before. So from here, my hand is looking like 7 cards. His land hand is looking 5, and 6 including his weapon. He's going to use his weapon to finish off my Healing Totem, and he's going to play an Elemental. So next turn I can expect maybe some overloads. I can Fire Elemental, deal 3 damage to this guy, and end my turn. Next turn, if he beefs him up or anything, I'll just be able to silence him with my Earth Shock. Or if he plays more creatures, then I can just Lightning Storm. There's a lot of things I can do. So yeah, okay, so it's looking like he's going to definitely try to kill my Fire Elemental, which he'll do. So it did 1 for 1 there, or 2 for 1, because he used Rock Better Weapon. So he's filling his field, which is not very bad for me, because now I can just Lightning Storm. So I'm going to play... Yeah, I'm going to play my Elemental. I'm going to Lightning Storm, give it his little +1/+1, which is very nice. I love comboing those cards. It's going to leave that 1 guy up, and Earth Shock doesn't do 2 damage, it only does 1. So there's no point to Earth Shock. But next turn he could play an Overload card and give him +1/+1 and be able to like do a little bit more damage to my guy. But if he's silenced, he won't get +1/+1, but I doubt he has an Overload to play. And if he does, it's not going to... If he wastes a couple overloads, kill my guy and his guy, that's fine, whatever. I still have hand advantage. Well, he got the spell damage totem, so if he does have, oh, there it is. The overload and the damage to my guy, which then he can kamikaze with his Earth Elemental. Yeah, so it's probably stupid. I should have, no, even if I would have silenced him, he still would have had enough attack to get rid of my guy. So from here, I would be able to use Sarah if I didn't overload it, but I did. So I'm just going to summon my totem, summon my Mana Tide, and that's really all I can do because the rest of my cards in my hand aren't. I'm not going to, yeah, there's nothing for me to do. So hopefully you can't kill my Mana Tide right off the bat, and I love getting my spell damage totem because it's such a help. It's an Azure Drake, kind of. It's a pitiful version of the Azure Drake, but I still like it. Alright, so it looks like he is able to kill my Mana Tide totem because with his Fire Elemental, which is what the Fire Elemental does. But with comes the Fire Elemental. Ooh, Ragnaros with Fire Elemental. I wonder who'd win that battle. Obviously Ragnaros. But if I play Ragnaros, then I won't be able to play anything else, and then it might attack his totem, and then he could kill it next turn. So I'm just gonna hex that. I'm gonna do my wolves. And then I can even play another Mana Tide totem to be really annoying. So now, he's at 3 cards, and I'm at 6 cards in hand, 4 cards on field. So definitely have a huge field advantage, definitely have a hand advantage, and have a health advantage. So he's it's not looking good for him. It's ever since about turn 5, it started going downhill when he had to kill off 2 to 3 of his cards to get rid of that Earth Elemental. So from here, definitely gonna play my it's between my Azure Drake or Ragnaros. Definitely Ragnaros. Gotta love me some Rose. So I'm gonna kill off that Hex that I did. I'm gonna kill off that Fairy Dragon just so he can't Bloodlust or do anything crazy. I play the safe route when I play a lot of the times. Like, I don't like chancing the fact that they could pull off something retarded. Like, when I have a lead, I take the safe route. Like, with that lead, I just keep controlling the field, controlling their hand, and then when they have nothing left and they have no field and no hand, then I make my swift victory. So he's going to play the Mana Tide Totem, knowing sure well it's going to die. But getting a card, it automatically goes 1-for-1 when you play it, so that's why Mana Tide Totem is awesome. So I'm going to Drake, draw my 1. Ooh, Lightning Storm, that was a good draw. But I'm not going to use it. Yes, I am going to use it. No, I'm not going to use it. No, I'm not. So I'm just going to get rid of that completely, 3 damage because of my Totem and my Azure Drake. I'm going to throw a Flame Tongue in between my 2 totems here. There's no point to give it a Ragnaros. My other guy already has attack, so there's no point to give it to him. Throw down an extra totem here. Attack directly, attack directly, attack directly. The 2 totems on the field aren't worth the damage that I'm going to attack. Draw 1 because of my Mana Tide and do damage with Ragnaros. So I've got a completely filled field. I've got 7 cards in hand, and he's got 4 cards in hand and 1 on card on the field, which isn't really a card. It's just costing 2 mana. So what he needs now... Okay, so he just gave up. I probably would have gave up too. It's unfortunate. And with that comes the end of my video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this guide. Let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. This deck is a little bit more expensive because there are a little bit of rares, some epics, and 2 legendaries. But like I said, you can definitely switch those out with other cards. If you're not sure what cards to switch them out with, throw me a comment. I'll definitely help you out on building a deck. These videos are for you guys. They're not for me. So again, feedback is always welcome. And this is Warshack with RGC.